Welcome back to the 15 grand house that's being renovated in rural France. And as I checked my post box located in my toilet today, I found these. They're bills, electric bills and a water bill. How lovely. Which got me thinking, there's a story that I've never told you with regards to a certain bill, which almost led to my bank account being seized. Quite serious for a small amount of money. Quite insane when you think about it, but it was a huge misunderstanding. That's going to be the first part of this video. And then the second part of this video is actually when something much worse happened that I've never talked about. Because I've never quite felt ready to talk about it, to be honest, and it cost me thousands. So anyway, in this video we're going to get into all of that coming right up. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first story is regarding the water bill. When I first signed up to the water board and opened the subscription or the line, the water line, whatever you want to call it, it was already connected down in the basement. So I just had to call them and then they worked their magic and all of a sudden there's water. Fantastic. Well, what they did was send me a bill in the post box, of course. I got the bill, I paid the bill. And then I thought, because I paid a good amount of money, it was probably like $150 or $200. I thought that was like the yearly kind of bill, and I'm not going to get any more bills because I've paid that already and I'm not using the water, so there's no reason for me to get another bill. Well, I was wrong, but unfortunately for me, I went abroad and I ended up being abroad for a long time, many months, and just after I left I got another water bill which went unanswered for a month, and then 2 months, then 3 months, then 4 months. Well, they were sending letters left, right and centre, and in the end it was the debt collector. I don't know how you call it in well, your part of the world, but someone that collects debts. And this debt was a whopping €39, just under. So about $45, if that. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. When I got back, I was quite shocked to see a letter saying final request or whatever before we seize your bank account, before seizure of bank accounts. So I immediately paid it via their app or whatever it was, and I never heard from them again. So yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty yeah, it could have been kind of awkward having my bank account seized over about $45, but that was definitely my mistake, because I should have been a bit more vigilant and had something set up in place where like, you know, an online account or something like that, which they actually do, which I'm going to sign up for once I pay my latest bill. I do find it kind of weird though how you don't use any of the electric or water and there's still a kind of standing charge subscription fee or whatever it is. That's super annoying, and that's a little lesson I've learned over the years, is that even when you're not using something, they'll still find a way to get a little bit of money out of you, and it adds up. Now that first little story is quite harmless, isn't it? I didn't lose any money, just received a few stern words on some pieces of paper. Not the end of the world. I paid the bill and I'm none the wiser. Now, second part of the story, the actual raw, painful event where I got stung is what we're going to talk about, and that is where I lost a lot of money, and I've never talked about it before, but I feel like I want to talk about it now because I want it to be a bit of a warning to anyone else out there who lives in France or is considering coming to France, because it affected me in a big way. So big, in fact, that I could never talk about it before. But first, let me just talk about something else that's just happened, which has shocked me as well. French DIY retail giant Leroy Merlin discloses data breach. And guess what? I just so happen to have an account with them, which means my data has been breached. We're talking name, address, email address, phone number, the works. Good thing I'm not too worried about it. You know why? Because I've got today's sponsor by my side. It's Incogni. You see, if you've ever signed up to an online newsletter or an online store like me, whether it was yesterday or 10 years ago, your online private data is at risk. It could fall into the wrong hands. Worst case scenario, probably steal your identity or track you down. But thankfully, Incogni has got your back when it comes to your online private data, because what they do is send automatic data removal requests on your behalf across the World Wide Web to thousands of data brokers whenever your private information pops up. All you got to do is sign up to Incogni and they literally do everything. It really is that easy. And if you happen to find your personal data on a website and you want it removed, well, fear not, because Incogni's got a certain feature called custom removals. You simply grab the link of that website or web page and then you paste it into Incogni's custom removals tool, and just like that, Incogni takes care of the rest. And yes, Incogni may have sponsored this video, but I am proudly a paying customer of Incogni and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future, especially when there's data breaches like this. And the cherry on top is that they're offering 60% off an annual plan when you sign up at the link in the description. It's incogni.com/lifeofryan, or simply use code lifeofryan at checkout. Thank you so much, Incogni, for sponsoring this video and keeping me safe from data breaches like that one. Legends. Now this is the part you've been waiting for. The story where I get bitten, burnt, stung, you name it, whatever. Okay, so after buying this place, I was in the market for a new accountant. Not really connected with what's going on here, because this is a personal asset. I wasn't even allowed to buy this as a business or anything. It was just mainly for a few invoices and a few expenses. I had an online accountant, but they were okay. They were about €100 a month. But unfortunately, they sometimes took a little while to get back to me. So I was looking for like a physical accountant. You know, an accountant, a local accountant is what I'm trying to say, with an actual office that I could speak to face to face. Anyway, I met probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 different firms, and finally found one that, well, let's just say this guy, he could talk the talk, and he sure did. He was very confident, very square, very legit. But this guy, he just had a way. He had a bit of a, you know, bit of an aura around him, in the sense that he's like, he said what I wanted to hear. And what I wanted to hear was, here's my phone number. You can contact me anytime and I will get right back to you. Well, I was paying a premium for this. I was paying like $350 per month. And the reason why it was so expensive was because I had the opportunity also to kind of give a lot of invoices if my professional activity were to scale and the price wouldn't go up. Well, about 6 months into having this accountant, my situation kind of changed, and I no longer needed the business structure that I was under, and I needed to simplify things. And that's where the problem started. Now, I was well within my rights to close the company down and say ta-ta to the accountant and be done with it, and we part our merry ways. Well, the accountant had other ideas, and this was a big firm as well, but I won't be saying who. The accountant actually lied. The accountant said that he was waiting for documents from the previous accountant in order to make sure everything's complete, and then we can close the company down and it will all be fantastic. So I waited 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and I also waited a month in the beginning for the actual meeting. So a total of 4 months had passed from when I told him I wanted to close the company. That's a third of the actual contract that we signed. Basically, he wanted to just see out the contract because he was waiting for a document from the previous accountant that he'd already received, in fact, months prior. So he was just lying. Yeah, so I had to pay $350, $350, $350, $350, $1,400 more. But not only that, when I really started to call and push to get the ball rolling, the phone ended up being disconnected, and he left the firm. Apparently, he just no warning. So I felt high and dry without an actual accountant on the case, and the firm was still trying to charge me $350 even after the contract's up. And I'm like, I thought my business was being closed. What's going on? By the way, it also costs another $2,000 roughly to close the business. So all in all, I paid about $3,400, $3,500 more than what I feel I should have or what I expected to pay. And that really, really stung. But you know what was worse than having to part with that money? Was the stress for like months and months and months. The first $1,400, that was quite quick, and then the other $2,000 was always in kind of like drips and drabs, like 500 here, 400 there, 1,000 there. You know, they kept hitting me up for more and more money, like months apart, and I just thought, when's this going to be done? Yeah, that was really, really stressful. But after it's all said and done, it's a lesson learned. I've come out the other end, and I'm wiser and stronger for it. But there is definitely a lesson to be learned, and that is, don't trust accountants. Just kidding. Don't trust anyone. Try and be as independent as possible, and that's what I'm doing now. And I'm much less stressed. I understand what's going on, and I know what I have to pay. I know what's coming in, I know what's going out. Life's good. I mean, I always knew what was coming in and going out, but no, I knew what was coming in, but I didn't know what was going out because they kept charging me for stuff. You know, these are accountants. I thought they were supposed to be helping. But yeah, that was really stressful, but now it's all good. It's a lesson. If you come to France, just don't get an accountant, or get an accountant, but just get an accountant for advice. Get an advisor, okay? Don't get an accountant. Don't do it. Don't open a business. It's a nightmare. So yeah, there's other more simple ways of doing it in France. Yeah, which I'm not going to get into because this video will be too long. But that's my little story time for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Very, very stressful times, but we're here now. We survived the storm, and that's life. C'est la vie, as they say in France. I don't know. And don't forget, you can get 60% off an annual plan over at Incogni. The link's in description. Thanks for watching.